Well, developing news now at 4. President Biden addressed the nation less than 24 hours after the last U.S. soldier left Afghanistan, ending a 2-decade-long war. The administration estimates more than 122,000 people were evacuated, while around 300 Americans remain in Afghanistan. The administration is working with international partners to ensure safe passage for any Americans or allies who want to leave. And in today's Community Focus, Brown University's Costs of War project, a widely cited resource. The project has been analyzing the human and financial toll of the post-9/11 wars, including the one in Afghanistan. And we're joined live via Zoom today by one of its co-founders, Nita Crawford. Nita, thank you so much for taking the time today.
My pleasure.
I want to start first by having you just tell us what exactly is the Costs of War project, where do you get your data from, and how do you compile it all?
The project has about 50 different contributors over the last 10 years. And what we've done is used almost exclusively publicly available sources. So, for example, when we talk about the State Department spending or other military spending, we are using the government sources. And then in some instances, what we have to do is make an estimate. And in that case, someone makes an estimate based on publicly available data using standard techniques, econometric techniques. The other thing we do is try to use a wide variety of sources and cross-check them.
So I'm hoping you can walk us through some of the data points that you have available on your Costs of War website, which I encourage people to check out. First, maybe we can start with the financial toll of the war in Afghanistan. How much has the U.S. spent on this 20-year conflict?
Well, the United States has spent war in Afghanistan in many ways. And the first way to think about it is in terms of what the Pentagon has spent. And they've spent about $1 trillion getting people there, keeping them there, and paying for their health care while they're there, weapons, ammunition, and replacement when things are destroyed. Then there's also the cost of increases to the Pentagon base budget, which are associated with that war. That is, the Pentagon had to increase pay, increase health care. For all of the service members, have enlistment bonuses, so the base military budget went up. Then the State Department also spent money in Afghanistan as well, and that's about $60 billion, much less than the DoD spent. Then in addition to that, we're including the cost of veterans care. In other words, of the almost 6 million U.S. post-9/11 veterans, they're drawing a lot right now from the VA system, and their care is part of what is included in our estimate.
So how long do you think the U.S. will be paying for this war? Because I know interest factors into this as well.
That's right. Well, the U.S. was in budget surplus in 2001, and immediately we went into budget deficit. We've been in deficit since then, and we've not financed this conflict or any of the other post-9/11 conflicts in the typical ways, which is to increase taxes or have a specific war tax, or by having people buy war bonds. So we're assuming that in addition to the interest that the United States has already paid on borrowing, there'll be payments into the future to pay for the borrowing that was associated with these conflicts, not just Afghanistan, but Iraq, Somalia, Libya, Yemen, the Philippines, and so on.
And we have about a minute left. I want to talk about the human toll as well. Can you walk us through how many people have been killed or displaced by this war?
The number killed is about 176,000 total, and that includes about 47,000 civilians who were killed. Millions of people have been displaced. That includes people who are displaced into the neighboring countries like Iran and Pakistan, but also more widely dispersed. And then there's also the toll that occurs because infrastructure has been destroyed. That is, when safe drinking water is not available, or hospitals are destroyed, or people can't use the roads to get to medical care, then that creates a reverberating effect which lasts sometimes generations. And those are indirect deaths, and we don't count those deaths. We don't count the deaths caused by the destruction of infrastructure. So that's the big picture there. And then there were also people who were harmed in Pakistan because of the Afghanistan war, in part because the Taliban and Al-Qaeda sought shelter in Pakistan, and the United States initiated a drone war against those militants. Sometimes, however, civilians were harmed. And in addition, the Pakistani military went after militants, and then civilians were harmed there as well.
Well, the war is over, but the effects will continue. Professor Nita Crawford, thank you so much for your time today.
It's my pleasure. Thank you for having us.